Hi, I'm Andrea. Thanks for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. Today is a day where we will be using our chair. So I highly recommend finding a chair. It could be the armrest from your couch, honestly, if you don't happen to have a chair that you feel like serves this purpose, because we're just going to use it as an assist for some balance. I happen to be standing on a yoga mat, but if you are without one, don't worry. A carpeted area in your home will be just great. Just make sure it's not too slippery. I'm barefoot. If that makes you uncomfortable, keep your shoes on. No problem. A couple of blocks, maybe you don't have yoga blocks at home, sturdy books will be fine. And then a folded blanket, which could be a beach towel or the throw blanket from your couch. We'll start, as we frequently do, in the bedrock of all poses and the place where we can stop so that we can start. Mountain pose. Your feet are hip distance. Palms turn away from one another, and there's an uplift of your heart. Allow your chin to stay parallel to the ground with a soft gaze towards what I like to call our bright horizon. Notice your breathing, its rise and its fall. And see if you can convince your breath to just come in and out through your nose. And the thought is that that will be true from now until the end of our practice. Of course, if you can't breathe through your nose, breathe any way that you can and with awareness. Adding movement, inhale, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky. A V shape overhead, and then exhale, hinge at your hips and take your hands to your thighs. Inhale, extend your heart. Smile your collarbones as opposed to letting them collapse. Exhale, increase the hinge at your hips, but be mindful that your head doesn't go lower than your hips. And then inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V shape. Float your arms along your side, palms face out. Again, like that, inhale, arms out and up, a V shape, thumbs to the sky. Exhale, hinge at your hips and take your hands to your thighs. Inhale, extend your heart, and then exhale, increase the hinge at your hips. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V shape, and then float your arms along your side. Once more, inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips and take your hands to your thighs. Inhale, traction your hands on your thighs and get long through the spine, and then exhale, hinge at your hips. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky. Float your arms along your side. Step out wide and face the long edge of your mat, thumbs to the sky. Measure your legs as wide as your arms, so think ankles right underneath where your wrists are here. Turn your right leg out. Your right foot will face the short edge of your mat, but that action is happening at your right hip. And then cheat your back heel at a 45-degree angle. Bend your front knee and test the alignment. So we want to have our knee and ankle lined in a vertical way, not the knee forward of the ankle if we can help it. Straighten your front leg and V-shape your arms overhead. Let this be our inhale, and then exhale, bend your front knee. Inhale, V-shape, thumbs to the sky, arms overhead. Bend your front knee, warrior two pose. One more time, straightening, thumbs to the sky. Let there be a lift in your low belly, and then bend your front knee. And we'll stay here for a moment. You're stamping your right heel into your mat and tucking that right hip underneath you so it doesn't become something that starts to look like a forward fold. Feel the majesty of your mountain out the crown of your head. If it's too long with your arms up, you can always place your hands on your hips or run the arms alongside you. I'll leave you here silently to meditate for just a couple moments in this shape. Straighten your front leg and let your arms float down along your sides. Turn all toes to face the long edge of your mat. Second side, turn your left foot to face the short edge of your mat, but turn from your left hip. Cheat your right heel back at 45 degrees, thumbs to the sky, arms out to the side. Bend your front knee, just make sure that we still have that desired vertical line between the knee and the ankle. Straighten your front leg and V-shape, thumbs to the sky, arms overhead. Bend your front knee, this is our exhale. Inhale, V-shape, thumbs to the sky. Bend your front knee, this is our exhale. Inhale, V-shape, thumbs to the sky. And now settle into your warrior stance. If it's better with your hands on your hips or your arms lowered down for a moment, do it. And then we're warriors not just on our mat, but off our mat too. Maybe you can meditate on that. With your left hip hugging underneath you. Your left thigh bone moving towards the left. And a few silent moments together here. Slowly straighten your front leg and lower your arms. Turn all of your toes to face that long edge of your mat. Heel toe, so that your feet become hip distance and we can move some props around to serve our next pose. You can use your chair, if you'd like to, for your triangle pose. Just move it so that it's halfway down your mat. So it's right in the middle of your mat, and then you'll be able to use the seat of your chair. If you're using blocks or books, place your blocks or books at the long edge of your mat. Make sure they're not underfoot, and then return to your wide stance, thumbs to the sky. See if you can arrange the ankles underneath the wrists. And then turn your right leg out so that your right foot faces that short edge of your mat. And cheat your left heel at that 45-degree angle. Bend your front knee. We probably need to remeasure the knee and the ankle. And then this time, reach out and take your right forearm across your thigh and your left thumb to the sky. Hug that right hip underneath you and make some space between your shoulders and your ears. Stay for a few moments here. Now take a look down so that you can see what we're up to here. You'll either take your hand onto the seat of your chair or reach for your block and place it tall on the outside of your right foot. Slowly begin to straighten your front leg into a triangle pose. Now, we want to make sure that that's not a side bend. So as you straighten that front leg, shift your left hip back. Straighten that front leg, even if it doesn't straighten all the way, that's fine. Spin your inner upper arms away from each other. If it feels better to you, you can take the back of your left hand to the small of your back. Press into your right big toe mound. Make sure that you're very aware of a hinge at your right hip, not the side bend. You can always look down if it's easier on your neck. You can look sideways if that feels best to you. Even up towards your left thumb if that feels best to you. Let's meditate here. We're going to head back to the pose that brought us into triangle. So begin to bend your right knee. Take your right forearm across your thigh. If you prefer left hand on your hip for that move, great. Or even back of the left hand against the small of your back is great. Karate chop that right forearm and turn your chest towards the sky. 2 moments here. This is going to be a little spicy. Do your best. Warrior 2, upright, thumbs to the sky. Straighten your front leg and lower your arms. Turn all of your toes to face that long edge of your mat. You may need to move your props out of the way. I don't want them underfoot, so maybe move your block. Your chair, I think, should be fine. Thumbs to the sky, arms out to the side. Turn your left leg out so that your left foot faces that short edge of your mat. Cheat your right heel at a 45-degree angle and bend your left knee. So we're in our warrior two again. We're looking at that vertical line, and then we take left forearm across the thigh like a karate chop. Right thumb to the sky. Keep the left hip hugging underneath you. Make space between your shoulders and your ears so there's no crumbling. Always, if it's better, with the right hand behind your back and the top of your right hand on the small of your back. Feel free. Just 2 moments here. And then take a look down so that we can see what we're creating here. Either left hand onto the seat of your chair or left hand on your block, tall on the outside of that left foot. Remember, it's a hinge at the hip, so we're not side bending. Let your right hip shift back. Feel that hinge at your hip. I know this is a different way of coming into triangle than at least you and I usually do, but I have faith. I know you can do it. If it's better with the top arm behind your back, anytime, make sure that you know that you can do that. And then create some space between your shoulders and your ears. Some spaciousness in your inhales and exhales. And if you want to be really advanced, a little space between the thoughts in your head. 2 moments here. And then rebend your left knee and take your left forearm across your thigh. You might prefer to have your right hand on your hip for that. Check and make sure there's space between your left shoulder and your left ear, also your right shoulder and ear. Left hip is hugging underneath you, and this is where you might experience a little bit of spice. Warrior two. Firm through your belly, so feel your low belly lift and then lower your arms and straighten your front leg. Turn all your toes to face the long edge of your mat. Be conscientious that there may be a block in your path. Heel toe your feet together. We'll move props in a moment. And then once you're hip distance, see how you're doing. We'll move our props off to the side and out of our way. Although some of you might use your blocks for the next thing, I'm going to show you with a chair seat, or like I said, it could be the arm of your couch, because my concern with using blocks is that it might take your head lower than your hips, and we don't want to do that. So first stand in your mountain, and we'll rehearse the foundation of it. Chair pose, thumbs to the sky. Notice that your weight shifts into your heels here, and then stand. And pause. Again, chair pose, thumbs to the sky, V shape, and then stand. Arms along your side, we pause. Once more, chair pose, and then stand and float the arms alongside you. Now, I actually enjoy using the back of my chair to get this all set up. I want something a bit taller. You could use your hand on a wall if that's more available to you. Shift your weight onto your left foot and hug that left hip into the midline, so we're not letting things collapse right out of the gate. Your left knee is going to bend like you're doing chair pose, and you can bend the right knee too to set it up. Hand on the back of the chair is a great idea. And then cross right ankle on top of left knee, and it doesn't have to go much farther than this. You might scoot your butt back a little bit and take your hand to the seat of your chair. But like when we did our sun salutation and tractioned our hands on our thighs, we're staying long in the spine. We're making sure that we don't go lower with our head than our hips. You're curling your right toes back, and I'm going to guess you're getting a stretch, right? Stretch and balance, breath and presence of mind. Stay here for just a few more moments. This is kind of a snazzy transition into something. So I want you to take your time with it and do it your own way. Hand on the back of the chair. Your right foot is going into tree pose. So for a lot of us, that becomes a kickstand on the ground and we stand straight with that left hip hugging in. It could be that you go from here to carefully putting the foot into the inner thigh. It might be that your foot comes to your shin. All of them are great, but I want us to tend to hugging that left hip in. So we go carefully into our second pose. And then it could be that you take thumb to the sky, V shape with one or even both hands. There's a lot going on in that whole sequence of events, so give yourself what you need. Come out of it all together carefully if that's what you need. And then point your right knee forward and probably with your hand on the back of your chair, stand with your feet hip distance. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like I'm hip, as in a stretch to my hips. I'm moving my chair, you don't need to move yours, but I just want to make sure that you're able to see me and that I am facing the side that I mean to. Now first let's bend our knees a bit, so it's like we're doing our chair. Stand onto your right leg, and then left ankle, with your hand on the back of your chair likely, ankle on top of thigh. It doesn't have to go any further. This is a lot of stretch. It could be that you take your hand onto the seat of the chair, but you're keeping a long spine, so none of us are rounding. We're super careful not to let our head go too low. And then keep hugging that right hip in, that standing leg in. We'll stay for a few moments. If you need a mantra for your meditation, just say, I'm hip. I'm hip. This transition is different for all of us. We're headed to a tree pose, which could be a kickstand with your left toes on the ground. You might situate your left foot into your right shin. It could be that you carefully use the back of your chair to come upright and place the left foot into your right inner thigh. So tree pose any way that you like to do it, but none of us are letting this kind of deal happen. No matter if it's a kickstand or the shin or the foot in the inner thigh, we have a sturdy standing leg, maybe left thumb to the sky, a V shape, maybe right thumb to the sky, a V shape for a moment. I would use something for the dismount, hand on the back of your chair or the arm of your couch. And then point your left knee forward and step your feet hip distance and into your mountain. I'm going to move my stuff around so that it's not in my way. You don't need to move yours, but we're all going to move ourselves to the floor. And you might like the seat of your chair for that. Mountain pose, inhale, thumbs to the sky. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs. Inhale your heart forward, and you can use the seat of your chair or your blocks, but let's make our way onto the ground. Once on the ground, we'll want our folded blanket. So you might want a block nearby also. I'll show you why in just a moment. So first we create our perch, our seat, folded blanket, maybe even a cushion from your couch feels better. Sit on your perch, legs out in front of you. And then think about what we did just a moment ago. First, roll to the front of your sit bones, so we're not letting it be a cave, right? We're not rounding. And then bend your right knee and put your right foot maybe in the shin, like you did with our tree pose just now, maybe in the inner thigh. Curl your left toes back towards you. If your right hip or thigh or knee would appreciate it, you can always slide a block underneath the bent knee. Inhale your arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky. Turn your chest to face your left leg. Hinge at your hip and just find where the porridge is just right for a stretch here. A few moments. Notice if the habit of rounding has come back into the mix, and let an inhale grow you even taller out the crown of your head. The exhales remind you that you don't want shoulders and ears. There's no tension required in your jaw. You'd like that to be relaxed. Last couple of moments here. Slowly come upright. Help it along. Stamp your right foot into the ground. A little bit of a detour between sides. Stay on your perch, but extend your right leg wide out to the side and shift forward on your sit bones. You may need to kind of arrange yourself on your perch. I know, me too. Now first find the majesty of your mountain with your toes curled back. No need to feel like they have to go super wide out to the side. Now for most of us, I think probably just staying right like this is going to be plenty. With a hip hinge and the length through your spine, if you want to venture forward, that's fine, but it's not necessarily better. When you get feedback from the backs of your legs and your inner thighs, you've gone as far as you need to, and then that's where you meditate. Walk yourself in if you walked out at all. Help with your hands on the outer thighs to just draw your legs together and then place your left foot wherever it would like to go. Could be the shin, might be the inner thigh. If the block underneath that left thigh is helpful, slide it in. Curl your right toes towards you. Make sure you're on the front of your sit bones, thumbs to the sky, V shape, turn. Left ribs towards your right thigh, and then it's a hinge at your hips. You're keeping that length through your spine, and when you get the feedback, you don't go further than that. You stay right there at your edge, and then you breathe into the stickiness, and that's the meditation. Slowly walk yourself back in, help it along, left hand onto the thigh, left foot on the ground. This time take both legs out in front of you. It could be that your toe knuckles touch or there's just a little bit of space, but it's not the same width as the last time. Shift onto the front of your sit bones. I bet that's enough for a lot of us. You can even have a little bit of bend in your knees if it's pretty tight. Maybe a hip hinge wanders you forward a bit, but I want that beautiful long spine. I want your attention to be to the feedback, not what you think it's supposed to look like, but the feeling of length through your spine, the feeling of a stretch in the back of your legs, the feeling of an ability to breathe, long, deep, rich breath. Two more moments here. Slowly walk yourself back in, bend your knees and put your feet on the ground. Come off of your perch. Make sure that your blocks are out of the way if you were using them underneath your thigh. And then lie down on your back. Once you're lying down on your back, bend your knees and place your feet hip distance And now, just like when we were standing, cross your right ankle on top of your left thigh. And you can stay just like this, and it's kind of delicious. If it feels good to you to thread the needle with your right hand through the space and hold your hamstring, or even put your left heel on a block, you can do that. Some might interlace around the left shin. Drop in and let go. Final hip stretch of our practice together today. Now, release this side slowly. So left foot down and then right foot down. Left ankle on top of right thigh, and that's plenty. If you want to reach through and thread the needle with your left hand or elevate your right heel onto a block, I leave it to you. And you can close your eyes. Drop in one last side of our hip practice. And then gently dismount this side so right foot comes down and left foot comes down. Shimmy your shoulder blades underneath you. Walk your feet as wide as your mat and ever so gently lift your hips up just an inch. Lengthen through your spine and then let your hips come back down onto the ground. Then extend one leg and then the other. Feet flop open. If you felt more like you wanted to keep your knees bent and your knees falling in on each other, you can do constructive rest instead of lying flat. And then close, maybe cover your eyes. Allow yourself to fall into the arms of the earth. Shavasana. I encourage you to stay in Shavasana for as long as you'd like. If you're ready, move your fingers and toes and stretch your arms and legs in opposite directions. Then gather your knees into your chest and roll to either side. Use the strength of your arms to bring yourself up to any comfortable seat. Once you're seated, palms up or down. Enjoy the after effects of your practice. Sometimes it's intense moving through it, but we always feel better for having done it. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I look forward to us doing it again together soon.